But the last time out, July 12th, in the Gold Cup, it was a 1-1 draw. The US went on to lose 5-4 on penalties. That's who they'll play tonight, Tony. And as you can see and you saw from there, it's not always as easy as it may seem against Panama for the US. Yeah, they've been the up-and-coming team for probably the last 5 or 6 years in CONCACAF. And with Coco Karski in the middle, Fajardo up top, guys like that, they've really excelled. Ishmael Diaz, guys like that have really become really good players in this part of the world. And so it's not going to be easy for the U.S. I think the U.S. will be happy with the fact that they're in match day 2 with an opportunity to qualify in match day 2, because I don't know how many times we've ever gotten in a group stage and on the second day of match day having this type of opportunity to get through to the next round. Neither team, though, Poppy, will be in awe of the other team, right? And this will not be easy. If you saw the second half, Panama against Uruguay, it took them a little while. Maybe there's some nerves for Panama. Certainly Uruguay was good, but it was clear that they can play.
Yeah, and Thomas Christensen has done an incredible job getting Panama to play in a way where they're not scared, they're not worried. And Coco Karski is a big part of that. He gets the ball, he can turn players, he can dribble past players, he can keep possession, he can allow the attack to set up. The benefit for, I think, the U.S. is that their attack sometimes is wasteful, and that in the opportunities they may get, sometimes that may help us. But the negative for the U.S. is, as you see from some of the previous results, it's really difficult to break this thing down. Once they bunker in, it's really hard to beat them and find space. Can we do that? Can we do that without giving them too much space on a counter? That's going to be a really tough task, especially since the U.S. seems to never really find themselves at the best form in these moments.
Tony, where do you see the key battle area? I know when I look at Panama, I see their midfield being their greatest strength. Do you look at that as the key battle area for this game?
Yeah, I would think so, and I think that the Murillo-Pulisic matchup on his side of the field, right, will be a fun one to watch as well. And I think if the U.S. plays the way they played against Bolivia and are just a little bit sharper in front of goal, because truth be told, they probably feel like they should have another goal or two outside of the 2-0 victory, right? Because they created enough opportunities. But as Alexis said, I think the one thing that we'd be fearful of is the counterattack from this Panamanian side, because I don't think Panama will sit back completely, but they will pressure in that middle of the field. And when the ball turns over, you got to be really good in transition if you're the U.S. tonight. So, again, the matchup, I like it from a U.S. standpoint. I'm happy that this is who they're playing against, because it's a team that, Poppy, they should beat, right, on paper. But, of course, as we've seen in these two competitions this summer.
That means nothing.
If you're Panama.
I'm talking to New England fans. They know about that.
Yeah. But if you're Panama right now, you're looking at this going, we can get this done tonight. Like, we can do this, right? And they need a win. They're desperate for a win.
And if we don't get a result, then we walk into a match against Uruguay needing a win against the best team. That's going to be tough.
And how does Greg kind of approach this game personnel-wise then? Because obviously we know Tyler Adams is coming back from injury. Do you start Tyler Adams in the midfield, or are you going for a couple of changes?
It's going to be interesting. I mean, for me personally, I'll play my best team. But I know that the US national team are talking to Bournemouth consistently about how to bring back Tyler Adams, because obviously Bournemouth need him for the Premier League as well. But I would start him, because the one thing is, you can't be arrogant or overconfident thinking that this Panama game is going to be easy. I think they're going to be challenged a lot more tougher than they were against Bolivia, and it's going to be a lot more of a difficult game. And like Tony said, from a Panama's perspective, I don't believe that they've got any fear whatsoever. I think that they're going to go into this game believing that they can get a result or get something. And the bigger game for US is that Uruguay game.
Is there anything against Bolivia that you think Greg would have been disappointed with, Tony, and kind of looking at to change for this game?
Not really. They didn't give up a heck of a lot. They were pretty much in control of the game from the start. There was that period after the first 10 minutes where it got a little bit choppy, but I would think the two decisions are obviously Tyler Adams and how he came out of match day 1, but it seemed to me like he had 45 minutes in the next part of his preparation to get ready, and that was going to be it. So, right move for me to start him, because the last thing you want to do is start him in the second half and then something goes wrong. Now you've used a sub twice. Does he now go 60 minutes tonight? And then the other one, I think, is the number 9 position and what he does there. Does he give Flo another opportunity, who scored a goal? Does he give Pepe an opportunity, who was a little bit more goal dangerous but didn't score a goal?
Yeah.
I think I would give Ricardo Pepi
an opportunity to start tonight only because he at some point is going to play a role in this competition for the U.S. And why not get him some minutes, right, in this game here? I think you'll see both of them at some point.
If the results don't go the right way, then that could be one of the things that people talk about. Because the opportunities that Pepe did get when he came on, he should have scored. He really should have taken those chances. And it's those fine lines that make the differences. And for me, when you get these opportunities, we talked about it all the time about who that number 9 is. He just didn't, for me, do enough where I'm thinking, okay, I could see why he should start now. He didn't make a statement.
But who is more goal dangerous? I believe 6 shots for Ricardo Pepi, 1 for Balogun, right? So, yeah, he scores a goal, goes through the defender's legs, good finish, all of that stuff. But who was more goal dangerous in the game? So do you go into it going, I don't think Ricardo Pepi is going to miss those opportunities again, because he has been fairly sharp in front of goal for the U.S. team and this year in league play.
Here's my hope. Start Balogun, we beat Panama, and then the match against Uruguay, we don't need to in order to get through, then you can start Pepi.
I think he certainly will then.
Yeah, and for me, that would be the best case scenario. I think when I look tactically at what's the difference between this match and last match, when talking to Tyler Adams afterwards, not me, when other folks talked to him after the match, he could tell he was a little upset. He said they were supposed to have a conversation at halftime about whether he was going to play more minutes in the second half. Not that he was told he was going to come out at half. And you could see he was upset about that. He wanted to play more. So I think that actually is a good sign, and it's a good sign that he'll potentially start or play more minutes. If for some reason there's a worry about his health and he doesn't start, I'm actually kind of excited to see a Yunus Musa come in and potentially play a slightly different role, but one that maybe facilitates Gio Reyna getting a little bit further up, not so close to the back line, and maybe Weston McKennie a little bit further back, maybe swap spots, so that Gio Reyna, who I think is so essential into unlocking a player like Folarin Balogun, will be a lot closer to him and make a lot easier passes, get the ball to his feet more. To me, that's just something I want to see so much more of.
It sounds great in principle, but again, Panama's strength is their midfield. You don't want to be that vulnerable and that open. You have to be connected and tight and compact against Panama. Because if you leave yourself that vulnerable, they will take full advantage.
Big miss, though, for Panama and Godoy, right? I mean, he's been a mainstay for this.
Yes.
He's captain of the team. He's been a mainstay, and it's been it was Martinez, right, in that first match against next to Carrasquilla. I still think Panama goes as Carrasquilla goes a lot of times.
Yeah.
The first half against Uruguay, he gave far too many balls away. But if they can disrupt his rhythm, I think. I mean, I personally would take our midfield any day of the week over theirs. And without Godoy, the guy who's like the destroyer in the midfield and the guy who can put a ball over the top and spring things, that's a big miss for them.
But
Are you looking at Weston McKennie as well
dangers
tonight? Obviously, we spoke about his Juventus form and how good he'd been last season for them, but his club, his international form kind of hasn't really matched that so far.
I would say he needs to have a big game. And I'm a Western fan. I like Western. But for me, for the standards and quality, I will judge a player by the levels that they've set and what I've seen them capable of doing. He hasn't really done it in the US shirt for these past couple of games. His performance for me has just been below par of what it needs to be. So for me, I think he's one player that definitely needs to stand out today. And it's not, people can look at it to say, well, you want to take it. But for me, I like him. I think he's a good player. But he hasn't been performing to the levels where he should be and what's required in this competition.
But the fact that he's being played slightly out of his preferred position, slightly out of his preferred area.
He's played out of position for Juventus many times and still had a good game. Like it's hard to do that argument.
Side. I think he's comfortable. That's where he's played for the U.S. I would like the other point. I would like to see Gio a little higher up the field, and if Weston can play a little bit deeper. But we know Weston likes to roam the field. He likes to get in the box and get on the end of things, and he'll do the work getting back. So, but I'm with you. He does need to be better moving forward here in this competition, because I think if we're going to be successful, Weston McKennie has to be a big part of this thing.
Yeah, and the thing as well is sometimes you look at some of these nations and the clubs that these players play for. I feel that some players now are just getting too comfortable, like there isn't no competition for them. So they kind of get comfortable in that environment that, okay, no one's going to take me off. And it's not a good environment to set, whether it's internationally or domestically. That's the worst thing you want, is when players get comfortable feeling that they can't be challenged.
Quick prediction, do we think it'll be comfortable scoreline from you boys?
Not comfortable.
No.
I think the U.S. wins.
Yeah,
US
I think
win?
2 win, but uncomfortable, if that's the word you want to use or not use.
2-1 US, I would probably say.